So in this video, I'm gonna share 6 side hustles that anyone can start in 2025. And if you put actual effort in these side hustles, over time, you can make an extra $2,000 per month. And given even more time, build it into something actual, scalable, something like an actual business. I'm gonna tell you guys how easy they are, how fast you can make the first $500, how much time and effort they take, and fourthly, how much money you'll make over a long period of time. But first, I wanna go over why actually start a side hustle in the first place. Side hustles can not only help you get extra income, help you, be more financially free in the long term, but they can also heavily develop your skill set. You can have your own schedule, expand it into something more, and even put this money into investments. So the first one that I wanna go over is gonna be freelancing. In terms of ease to start, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 because overall, it's pretty difficult to start. You're actually gonna have to learn a skill. And even if you already know the skill that you're gonna teach, you're gonna put out there, it's overall just gonna be pretty difficult to get noticed at first. For your first $500, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 because again, it's gonna be pretty hard to get noticed, but once you do, you can make that pretty easily. And how much you make also depends on how much you're charging, what you're charging for, how often you get charged, effort and time. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 because over time, you're gonna have to put a lot of management, a lot of focus into this side hustle. And then finally, for the long-term gains, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. And the reason why the long-term gains are actually so high is because even though it's gonna be pretty difficult to get noticed at first, due to, how much competition there might be, whether it's coding, it's thumbnail design, whether it's any sort of those things, over time, once you actually get noticed, once you're on the top pages of Fiverr, for example, you're gonna actually make some pretty good income. Okay, so for number 2, which is one of my personal favorites, is gonna be flipping items. So pretty much what the plan for flipping items is you basically pick up free items, you take any items that you have in your garage, any items that you don't use or that have good value, you clean them up, you fix them up, whatever you need to do, and then you sell them for the original price. For example, in one of my videos, I took a guitar from my garage, I cleaned it up, it was pretty dusty, I fixed it, I tuned a little bit, and then I ended up selling it for around $15. I sold it in just a few hours, and overall, it was just an easy $15 that I can later use to invest more and more into flipping more items. So ease to start, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Incredibly easy to start. All you have to do is, again, just take an item, pick up free items, clean the items, list them on, OfferUp, on Mercari, on eBay, whatever, and then you just sell them and then get the money. So it's overall just really easy, and there's really just not that much stuff that you actually have to learn besides, selling, negotiation, price management, a lot of these things that are just gonna help you in the long term. If you sell enough items in a short amount of time, the first $500 that you can make from flipping items will be incredibly quick, incredibly easy, and just fun. So I'm gonna give the first $500 a 8 out of 10 because you just make it so quickly. Time and effort, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10 because once you have the items actually with you, besides that, besides posting items, taking good pictures, it's not that difficult, it's not that much time. It doesn't take that much time, that much effort to actually keep the business running. And then for the long-term money, if you keep this up more and more, I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. Okay, so for the third spot, this is gonna be a little bit of a tricky one, but it's gonna be content creation. Things like YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Reels, Instagram Reels. You can actually make some decent money, but there's actually some things to keep in mind. Although anyone can start making YouTube videos, can start making social media posts, all you really need is a phone, and that's basically all you need to post. To actually get traction on your YouTube channel, for example, it's actually pretty difficult, but again, anyone can do it, anyone can start, so I'm just gonna give this a 5 out of 10. First, the first $500, I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 10. The reason why it's so low is because, for example, on YouTube, it's gonna take some time to actually get monetized, even though, there are some examples, some, 1 in 1,000 YouTube channels that actually get monetized relatively quickly. For the time and effort, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 because with every YouTube video, you're gonna have to edit, you're gonna have to film, plan out, create the script, create the thumbnails, titles. It's gonna take a lot of effort, it's gonna take a lot of time. But this is actually where it gets good because for the long-term money that you'll actually make, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 because basically on YouTube, for example, RPM, which is this right here, and then CPM, which is this right here as well, is basically how you earn revenue, and these are actually different for every niche. So overall, given a lot of time, you can make an incredible amount of money. So for number 4, it's actually going to be e-commerce. Ease to start is going to be 5 out of 10. It's not too difficult to start, but it's not too easy because there's a lot of things that you're going to actually have to learn, or you're going to have to already know to start e-commerce in the first place. Your first 500, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 because it's going to take some time for you to actually get noticed for your TikTok ads, for your Amazon, for example, to actually gain traction. For time and effort, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because this does take a lot of management. It takes a lot of, effort and time to just keep the business actually running. But actually for long-term money, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 because you can actually make some really good profits, some really good income over time. Alright you guys, so for number 5, it's going to be thumbnail designing. This can actually tie in with content creation. If you do content creation, you're most likely going to have to learn how to create good engaging thumbnails that elicit emotion into the viewer, which can again tie into this. So pretty much what thumbnail designing is you go on Fiverr, for example, you go on these websites, a lot of these, freelancing gig type websites, and then you just create thumbnails for content creators. So the ease to start, although anyone can just make a thumbnail, to actually get into the depths of thumbnail designing, stuff like color contrast, color psychology, it takes a lot of psychology to actually create good thumbnails, intriguing thumbnails. A lot of this stuff actually takes a lot of thinking, a lot of thought into the thumbnails. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. For your first $500, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 because again, there's going to be a lot of competition. For time and effort, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 because once you create, your Fiverr gigs, your Fiverr account basically, it's not going to take that much management to, keep it under control. And then finally, for the long term, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 because although in the future you can be on the top, on the first searches of Fiverr, over time, although you could get a lot of requests, you're not going to make that much money for each thumbnail. Okay, so for number 6 is going to be social media management. So basically what this is, if you run your own YouTube channel, you'll find this type of business incredibly easy. You're gonna have basically no problem with it. In fact, it's probably gonna be really enjoyable. But for the average person, the ease to start, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because you're going to have to learn management, of a YouTube channel, social media. You're going to have to learn, again, psychology, all of this stuff that ties into what makes a content creator or social media channel actually worthwhile. The first $500, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. There's going to be a lot of competition and it's just going to be really difficult to actually get noticed. But once you do, you'll actually make some really good money. For time and effort, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. This is simply because, again, you're basically managing someone else's social media account. And then for the long-term money, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because I'm assuming it's going to be either in weekly or monthly payments, which is actually going to be pretty good. And this, again, if you're managing the social media account of someone who is famous, someone who's popular, or someone who's, currently trending or something like that, you can actually make some really good money. So there you go, guys. Those are the 6 best side hustles to start in 2025 that anyone can do. Make sure to watch this video right here on how to start a YouTube channel in 2025. And as always, thank you for watching.